This video is sponsored by Aura, smart, simple online safety.
I'm going to be completely square with you. Your story's very elaborate. I start figuring out, okay, how do I make it so you look like a monster?
When David Fincher sets his sights on a crime script, you know we're in for a cinematic masterpiece. Seven, Fight Club, Panic Room, Zodiac, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Killer, and the series Mindhunter are all critically acclaimed productions. In 2014, Fincher directed an adaptation of Gillian Flynn's book Gone Girl. It became Fincher's highest-grossing film, garnering nominations and awards in all major movie awards shows. Today's video isn't about a Fincher movie, but it could be. It's about an actual event that became a series that was similar to a Fincher movie based on a book. Are you still with us? American Nightmare on Netflix has taken the true crime world by storm. The new docuseries delves into the abduction case of Denise Huskins and Aaron Quinn, as well as the accompanying media circus that ensued when the police and FBI accused the pair of faking their abduction. The scenario was described as a real-life Gone Girl. The series has achieved record numbers in viewership on the streaming platform, but has also left some viewers scratching their heads at some of the explanations given or not given in the series. Keep watching as we give you a timeline of the crime, the head-scratching explanations and omissions in the series, and the psychological history of the kidnapper that may answer some of the unanswered questions in the series. On March 23, 2015, at about 2 p.m., Vallejo police received a call from Aaron Quinn, a 30-year-old man who lived on Kirkland Avenue on Mare Island, inside Vallejo city limits. At the scene and later at the police station, he explained what had happened to him. Quinn said he had spent the previous evening with 29-year-old Denise Huskins, whom he had been dating for about 8 months. The two had met at a hospital in Vallejo, where they both worked as physical therapists. They resembled the perception of an all-American couple. He was a former high school quarterback, and she was an attractive, blue-eyed, blonde-haired beauty. Quinn ensured that all the windows and doors were shut about midnight before heading upstairs to bed. 3 hours later, Quinn was awoken by a blinding light pulsating from the corner of the room, and red dots flickered over the walls like laser gun sights seen in the movies, according to Quinn. "This is a robbery. We are not here to hurt you," a man said in a business-like tone. He instructed the pair to lay face down, but Quinn was too frightened to move. "Aaron, you're not turning over," he said. Aaron wondered how this intruder knew his name as he rolled over. The man threw plastic zip ties on the bed and instructed Denise to secure Quinn's wrists and ankles. As she cooperated, her hands trembling, the man encouraged her, saying, "You are doing a good job." He had Denise move to the large closet across the room, then helped Quinn get off the bed so he could join her. Quinn kept his head down as directed, and behind him he could hear the crackling of a stun pistol. He remembers shivering as he lay down on the carpet next to Denise. Quinn heard someone downstairs rummaging through kitchen cabinets and using a drill. There was more than one of them, he thought. He felt the man put blacked-out swim goggles over his eyes and headphones over his ears. Have you ever tried to Google your own name or email address? We have, and it's quite shocking to see your own information of private character exposed and for sale on the internet. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, email, home address, health records, your relatives, it's all out there, and it's definitely a bad thing. That's why we've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our information and automatically submits opt-out requests for us. Using Aura, we discovered 17 data brokers that were selling our information, and it automatically took care of them all. Cleaning up our information not only helps reduce the amount of spam we get, but it protects us from hackers who could use this information to help them access our social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect our team and our families from online threats we can't see. It's really easy to set up, so we don't have to download several different apps to get things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more. We get everything at one affordable price. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping us safe so we can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. We value our privacy, and we value yours. You can go to aura.com/badthings to start your 2-week free trial. Also linked below in the description. Aura protects you from bad things on the internet. He first heard melodious wind chimes and then a robotic voice. Stay calm, it urged. Our motivation is purely financial. The recording, which also addressed Quinn by name, said that he would be given a combination of NyQuil and diazepam, a sedative. The man tested the couple's blood pressure and inquired whether they had any allergies or were using contraindicated medicines. When they said no, he poured the sedative liquid down their throats. Quinn then heard the intruder move Denise to another room. A fresh recording sounded in his ears. You will be asked a series of questions, the message added. If we believe you are not telling the truth, your partner will be punished by electric shock, then cuts to the face. The intruder removed Quinn's headphones and mentioned Quinn's childhood home address. The intruder also rattled off Quinn's bank account information and demanded passwords for his banking and email accounts, phone, laptop, and Wi-Fi network. After briefly leaving to talk with Denise, the man asked Quinn whether she resembled a woman named Andrea Roberts. Yes, they both have long blonde hair, Quinn said. Roberts was Quinn's ex-fiancée and a colleague of his and Denise's at the hospital. She lived in a separate bedroom at Quinn's home following their breakup and moved out about the same time he and Denise started dating. This was intended for Andrea, the assailant said. We got the wrong intel. The man then left the room for what seemed like half an hour. When he returned, he told Quinn that Denise was being kidnapped and that he would have to pay a ransom of several $1,000s. If he followed the instructions, she would be released within 48 hours. The intruder then put the earphones back onto Quinn's head. A recording pointed out that the perpetrators were a black market group that collected personal and financial debts. Quinn was then instructed to remain in the house in a designated spot and await instructions. He was told that his partner or family might be harmed if he disobeyed commands or contacted the police. Waiting will be the hardest part, the audio said. You should entertain yourself by reading. The intruder cut the zip ties around Quinn's feet and led him downstairs, where he tied his ankles again with duct tape and placed him down on the living room sofa. He instructed Quinn to remain inside until daylight, then call in sick and phone Denise's supervisor to inform him that she was dealing with a family situation. The man said that he would take Quinn's vehicle and would let him know where it was in the morning so that he could go to the bank. The intruder then said, "Are you comfortable?" Quinn requested a blanket. "Oh yes," the man said. "I forgot how cold it is because we're wearing wetsuits." Quinn heard his car's trunk close, the engine start, and the garage door open. He dislodged the blacked-out goggles by nudging them with an armrest. Quinn faintly made out the numbers on the clock. It was 5 a.m. He slowly felt his eyelids become heavy as the sedatives started kicking in. He would be in and out of consciousness, fighting the sedatives he had been given for the next 6.5 hours. He eventually wriggled his wrists out of the zip ties and hopped into the kitchen, where scissors had been set aside for him to set his ankles free. A device that resembled a security camera with a motion sensor beeped from across the room, supposedly watching that he didn't cross the red tape set out by their assailant. His car, $200 in cash, and an Asus laptop were missing. There was no sign of Denise. Quinn later got an email telling him to withdraw $8,500 cash from 2 separate accounts. "We do not wish to trigger the $10,000 reporting limit," it said. If the bank queried why he needed the money, a second email ordered him to tell them it was to pay for a ski boat. Quinn informed police that he had debated whether to call them at all because of the kidnappers' threats. He eventually contacted his FBI agent brother, who encouraged him to immediately contact 911. At the Vallejo police station, seated on a swivel chair dressed in jail clothing, Quinn gave his statement to a pair of detectives. After a few hours, Matthew Mustard, the case's principal investigator, walked into the room. Mustard's tone was kind initially, but he quickly revealed that he did not trust Quinn's story.
And they're wearing, what did they swim in wearing their wetsuits? I mean, come on, man. It doesn't make any freaking sense.
Mustard later noted that he thought that several aspects of Quinn's claim were fantasy, like swim goggles, calming music, prearranged messages, and a perpetrator who provided his victim with a blanket and reading material. When the investigator questioned Quinn about his personal life, he confessed that he and Denise had just gone through a trying period. She found emails he sent to his ex-fiancée, asking her to rekindle their relationship. Denise had come over to talk through everything on that night, and Quinn admitted that the couple had been drinking before the apparent kidnapping. According to Mustard, officers found no evidence of forced entry into the residence. They noticed a strong, scented odor and carpets that seemed to have been newly vacuumed upstairs. Quinn's comforter was missing from his bed, and the sheet had a minor bloodstain. Quinn's car was discovered by police in a parking area about 3 minutes from his home. Quinn claimed the emails were from the kidnappers, yet they were sent from his account, and he had Denise's phone. Quinn did not behave like a crime victim when his girlfriend went missing. He took a nap, phoned in sick to work, and contacted his girlfriend's supervisor, eventually waiting more than 8 hours to notify 911, according to Mustard. At the station, Mustard presented his own theory. The investigator said he thought something bad had happened between the pair. Maybe they were arguing, and Quinn shoved her down the stairs, or perhaps they had been trying out drugs, or something went wrong during sex, and there was an accident. Mustard felt that Quinn fabricated the bizarre storyline to hide what had really happened. Quinn confessed that the whole situation sounded like a movie, but he persisted that he was telling the truth. Over 10 hours into the interview, he agreed to a lie detector test. A polygrapher from the FBI, who had been brought in to help with the inquiry, told him after the test's conclusion,
That was you right here. All right, Aaron, there's no question in my mind that you failed this test.
Aaron grabbed his head in his hands. "I don't know where she is," he said. Eventually, he asked for a lawyer when he saw which way the detectives were leaning. As the police department drafted a news statement, Mustard seemed to have a predetermined ending to the story. "I'm looking for dead Denise," he said at one point. According to Quinn, Mustard assured him there would only be one suspect. "It'll be you." At the crime scene, investigators spread yellow crime scene tape and scoured windows for fingerprints. More than 100 search personnel and cadaver dogs scoured the peninsula for signs of Denise, while divers investigated the nearby seas. If you think this story is weird, wait, it gets stranger. Henry Lee, a reporter, had been talking with a group of reporters congregated outside Quinn's house when his phone buzzed. He saw an email with the subject line "Denise," received from the account of A.J. Quinn. Lee moved aside to read the message. "Denise will be safely returned tomorrow," it said. "Any advance on us or our associates will create a dangerous situation." The message included a link to an audio clip. Lee heard a woman's voice. "My name is Denise Huskins, and I'm kidnapped. Otherwise, I'm fine." To verify that the tape was not pre-recorded, the woman mentioned a plane disaster in the Alps that morning. To authenticate her identity, she said that the first concert she attended included Blink-182 and Bad Religion. Lee believed the tape was a hoax. You're inured to what you see on crime shows. Someone calls for help or is clearly being forced to say the words, he later said. In this case, she seemed to just be having a normal conversation. The assailant took Denise to a secure location after placing her in the trunk of the vehicle. The abductor told her that he was a member of a black market group that deals in kidnappings for ransom money, emphasizing that the abduction was intended for Andrea. Denise was initially left alone, but her nightmare quickly became a reality when the kidnapper recommended that Denise have sexual intercourse with one of the men in his group, while the encounter was filmed on video as collateral. The kidnapper threatened Denise with releasing the tape on the internet if she spoke to the police after being released. Unfortunately, Denise was assaulted again before being suddenly freed after over 48 hours in custody. On March 25th, just before 10 a.m., Denise's father, who had driven from Southern California to Vallejo after she was reported missing, called the police to report that he had received a voicemail from his daughter. She said she was on her way to his house in Huntington Beach, where her captor was dropping her off. Denise was in a neighbor's apartment when police arrived. Like Quinn, she reported a strange house invasion with lasers, swim goggles, wetsuits, and prepared audio messages. She said that her kidnapper drove with her in the trunk of a car to a remote area hours away from Mare Island. She was imprisoned in a room with a queen-sized bed and cardboard-covered windows. He used zip ties and a bike lock to secure her to the headboard. Denise told police she was blinded and drugged most of the time, but she thought her abductor was a Caucasian male with brownish-red hair. He claimed to be working with 3 associates, T, J, and L, and clients had recruited them to abduct people for ransom. When asked whether she had been sexually assaulted, she responded no. Overall, she claimed, the abductor had treated her well, providing food and drink and allowing her to shower in privacy. Denise would later comment on her imprisonment, stating that her captor seemed intellectual and socially awkward, and that he informed her he was in the military and had served in the Middle East. She said that he provided her with cosmetics, fed her pizza and wine at a formal table setting, and showed her a French film. He showed her a news video that showed her father and then hugged her as she cried. "I wish we would have met under different circumstances. You're an incredible person." Mustard, the Vallejo detective, had been mistaken about Denise's fate. There was no dead Denise, as Mustard had warned Quinn, but he still didn't believe the couple's story. Mustard later said he could grant Huskins or Quinn immunity if they cooperated with the police. He hinted that it would be first come, first served. Mustard was not alone in questioning the abduction story.
Did this 29-year-old woman fake her own disappearance?
Earlier tonight, the Vallejo Police Department released a statement saying Huskins' disappearance was an orchestrated event and not a kidnapping.
Police are saying this is a hoax.
That afternoon, according to former Vallejo Police Chief Andrew Badeau, Mustard met with his superiors and an FBI agent called David Sesma. Several officers in the room were suspicious that Denise had resurfaced outside her father's home, wearing sunglasses and carrying bags. She seemed casual, like somebody just come back from a trip, rather than somebody that just went through a very traumatic incident, Badeau would say. Police found darker impression circles, consistent with wearing swim goggles on Denise's face, but she had no visible injuries. When authorities examined the alley where Huskins said her abductor had released her, they found no evidence of the tape she claimed to have pulled from her eyes. Officers asked a gardener who had offered Denise his phone to contact her father if she was nervous, excited, or scared. The man said, no, she appeared completely normal. According to Badeau, after half an hour into the meeting, the group reached a unanimous conclusion. Everyone believed that it was a purposeful act. Kenny Park, the police department spokesperson, appeared on TV at 9:30 p.m., less than 12 hours after Denise resurfaced, accusing her and Quinn of defrauding the public. Park said Quinn and Huskins had led officials on a wild goose chase and plundered valuable resources. They owe this community an apology and may face criminal prosecution. On the day of the press conferences, Henry Lee received another unusual email from huskinskidnapping@hotmail.com. Miss Huskins was absolutely kidnapped, the note said. We did it. We now have a kidnapped woman who suddenly reappears on the street she grew up on, a boyfriend who is accused of murder, and later a police department that firmly believes that the two have staged a kidnapping for unknown reasons. These events make for a thrilling Netflix true crime series. But Netflix viewers are taking to social media to express their bewilderment about various unexplained parts of a new real crime series. Given that some viewers are pointing out several elements they cannot fully comprehend, this drama may call for a more proactive approach by digging into the details that the series didn't or wouldn't. The series mentions seemingly important aspects of the case and never elaborates on them. The camera. One Redditor has queried, they never discuss the details of the camera. Was it Aaron's camera that he already had hanging there? Did the kidnapper hang it up? Did they try and pull the footage? Could they not see who was registered to the app that had that camera was registered to? Could they not reach out to the manufacturer and pull the footage? This camera was most likely a dummy camera, but why wouldn't the show's producers tell the audience this? Another Redditor thinks they have the answer. If it's a dummy camera, say so. Doesn't take but 5 to 10 seconds to clear up leads that appear to be dead ends. It's like the producers are too afraid to relay anything that would seem to vaguely support the police, which is crazy. The police were insanely incompetent. The duffel bag. CCTV footage shows Denise returning home after her ordeal, carrying a green duffel bag. One Redditor jumped on this unexplained detail. Also, what was in the duffel bag that Denise was carrying when she was dropped off in Huntington Beach? In the camera footage, she is carrying a huge green duffel bag. Did the kidnapper give her that bag to take with her when he dropped her off? Did he let her pack a bag before he kidnapped her from her house? Another Reddit post had similar questions about the duffel bag. I was wondering what was in the duffel bag too. I think it was Detective Mustard who mentioned that all of Aaron's bedding was gone. Where did it go? Was that what was in the bag? For having 3 episodes, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. On January 19th, Denise would explain why she had the duffel bag in an Instagram post on her page. Muller grabbed my overnight bag, work bag, my purse and my eyeglasses before putting me in the trunk of the car, which made it all even more frightening because it was clear how intently they were stalking us. As to why he did that, I still don't know exactly. The docuseries simply can't go into the details, so I can see how there are many questions people may be left with. And that's why we wrote the book before pursuing anything on film, so people could reference the case in greater detail and get more answers. Thank you for your interest and curiosity. On June 9, 2015, Detective Misty Korosu joined a group of police officers gathered outside a dark green cottage with white trim. It was Korosu's first day as a detective. She was briefed on the case while on her way to the scene. Around 3:30 a.m. the previous Friday, a 52-year-old who lived on the outskirts of Dublin, an area east of San Francisco where Korosu worked, called 911. Lynn and her 60-year-old husband Chung awoke to a floodlight and a laser blazing in their faces. A masked man in black stood at the foot of their bed. "We have your daughter, and she's safe," the intruder said. In what Lynn described as a calm, soft voice, the intruder instructed the pair to roll over and place their hands behind their backs. He then said he would tie them up. When Chung felt the stranger touch him, he swung at him. Lynn took her phone from the nightstand, locked herself in the bathroom, and called 911. She told the operator she heard arguing, followed by her husband yelling, "Honey, go get the gun," even though they did not own one. A few seconds later, the intruder ran downstairs and out the back door. When authorities arrived, Chung had bruises on his arms and face, as well as blood from a cut above his ear. A window near the rear door was open, with the screen removed. Detectives discovered a black wool glove and 3 plastic zip ties in the couple's bedroom. Officers also found another zip tie and a 6-inch shred of black duct tape along a gravel path in the yard. Kelly, their daughter, gave a sergeant something she found on a hallway cabinet near her room, a mobile phone she did not recognize. Police eventually connected the phone number to the cabin that Kurosu and her co-workers were about to enter. It was located on a residential street in South Lake Tahoe, a ski resort town about 130 miles from Dublin.
I got this open door to the left.
Officers smashed in the door and arrested Matthew Muller. Kurosu's role was to process evidence. She took pictures of a black ski mask, duct tape, gloves, and a stun gun. In a banker's box, she discovered duct tape, gloves, walkie-talkies, a radar detector, zip ties, rope, and a key-making device. In a bathroom, there were cosmetic brushes and a half-empty bottle of NyQuil. Additional gloves, yellow crime scene tape, and a spiked dog training collar on the bed were in one bedroom, while a container of Vaseline lotion and used paper towels were in the other. Kurosu also recovered torches, mobile phones, hard drives, and multiple laptops, including an Asus laptop hidden under a mattress. Kurosu also processed a stolen white Mustang discovered near the property. Strangely, some of this evidence seemed unrelated to the Dublin crime. One of the most recent locations on the car's GPS was an address in Huntington Beach, 400 miles south of Lake Tahoe. Kurosu discovered a blood pressure cuff, a camouflage poncho, and a mesh vest with a wireless speaker in one of the compartments. She also found a BB gun, a dart gun, and a black-painted Nerf Super Soaker with a headlight and a laser pointer affixed to the barrel. A bag discovered also had a military-style gun belt with compartments stuffed with 2 pairs of Speedo swim goggles. Kurosu took one of them out. The lenses were covered with black duct tape. A long blonde hair attached to the tape shimmered in the sunlight as she inspected the goggles. None of the victims of the Dublin house invasion were blonde. Neither was the suspect. As she tagged evidence from the cabin, Kurosu couldn't stop thinking about the golden strand of hair she discovered in the Mustang. This wasn't his first time, she informed her co-workers. We're going to solve some crimes. With her boss's help, Kurosu started looking into whether they'd stumbled into anything more than a single house invasion. Matthew Muller's name came up in police databases as a possible suspect in an unsolved 2009 break-in and attempted rape near Stanford. Kurosu determined that the home invasion was also similar to 2 unsolved Silicon Valley incidents. Kurosu then contacted the owner of the stolen Mustang found in South Lake Tahoe. When Kurosu informed him that her department had arrested someone for a home burglary near where his vehicle was discovered, he inquired if she had heard of the Mare Island Creeper, a peeping Tom. At least 4 women in the area reported seeing a man spying through their windows or climbing onto their roof. 2 of the women lived on the same street, Kirkland Avenue. Then, as soon as the peeping Tom episodes began, they ended. It was about the same time that the Vallejo kidnapping happened, the Mustang owner told Kurosu. Kurosu studied Quinn's and Huskin's descriptions of what happened to them and recognized a pattern that linked up to the Dublin house invasion and the ones in Silicon Valley in 2009 and 2012. She contacted the Vallejo Police Department multiple times over a week before speaking with a detective in late June 2015. You guys said it was a hoax, but it may not be. Kurosu said the detective was highly dismissive of the information she gave him. He directed her to the FBI, which had taken over the case. Kurosu called David Sesma, one of the agents in the meeting with the Vallejo Police Department's top leadership, when they decided the incident was staged. "We never said that was a hoax," Sesma stated defensively. Karasu detailed the Dublin break-in and the suspect held in prison. "We have all this information. It might be of some use to you," she told him. 2 days after speaking with her, Sesma and his colleague FBI agent Jason Walter met with Dublin police to discuss evidence recovered from the cabin and Mustang in South Lake Tahoe. When the agent saw photos of the blonde hair wrapped in blacked-out swim goggles and a super soaker with a laser and a flashlight affixed to it, they were clearly disturbed, according to Miguel Campos, the Dublin case's lead investigator. They said something along the lines of, "Oh shit," Campos told me, but in a more professional way. The house of cards came tumbling down. The Vallejo Police Department had labeled Denise and Aaron as hoaxers, and now they had a more than workable suspect in custody. Matthew Muller, a Harvard-educated lawyer, has a rich history of academic achievement and a decorated military career, but according to his legal counsel, Muller suffers from various mental disorders. According to Muller and his legal team, his actions are attributed to PTSD, persecutory delusions, bipolar, and, according to others, full-blown schizophrenia. Muller is suspected of multiple home invasions and attempted rapes, and was sentenced to 40 years in U.S. District Court in Sacramento, California, in 2017. One question remains. Why has nobody else been arrested if Muller was part of a black market group that collected personal and financial debts, and Denise and Quinn are confident that they saw a second pair of legs in the assault? According to an FBI summary, Muller confessed to a reporter, clearing up one of the case's mysteries. Did he act alone, or did he have collaborators still at large? According to the FBI affidavit, Muller's gang was only a fantasy. In the context of discussing the kidnapping of Huskins, off the record and on background, Muller said that there was no gang and that it was just him, Special Agent Wesley Drone stated in the affidavit. The FBI filed the document in support of a search warrant to search various electronic devices seized from Muller, including several laptops and cell phones taken from a house in South Lake Tahoe, where Muller is suspected of having held Huskins, as well as a hard drive recovered from his car, which the FBI discovered stashed in a long-term parking at Reno Tahoe International Airport. Denise and Aaron maintain they heard numerous voices. Muller's federal plea deal from 2016 states that a sound recording that appeared designed to simulate people whispering to each other was discovered on one of Muller's computers seized during the FBI search. And the second pair of legs. Karasu discovered something odd and creepy while searching the stolen Mustang trunk. A blow-up doll dressed in black was stuffed inside a huge duffel bag and wired to sit or stand. In a dark room under extreme traumatic stress, did the couple mistake this blow-up doll for an intruder? Denise and Aaron filed a defamation of character case against the city of Vallejo and its police department in March 2016.
New at 5, ABC 7 News has just learned the city of Vallejo has reached a tentative settlement in the Denise Huskins kidnapping case.
And settled for $2.5 million in 2018. In April 2016, Detective Mustard collected the 2015 Officer of the Year award. According to the Vallejo Sun, Mustard was promoted to sergeant in 2018, sparking more controversy and allegations of wrongdoing. He is still thought to be with the VPD. Andrew Bidow, the then police chief, wrote confidential apology letters to Denise and Aaron in July 2015.